Hey guys, this is Jess. As I promised you, I would send you some videos. Good news is that I will walk you through the videos right now. Well, the less good news, or so to speak, bad news, is that the English version is not up yet. In a week from now, this will definitely be the case. However, I would love for you to do not procrastinate and do indeed implement some of the sessions that you've gone through or have experienced, I should say. Um, I would like to challenge you or invite you to really apply these sessions maybe in your personal spheres or maybe with your team members, with your peers, your fellow students, or at work, or maybe for an organization you work with, or even for, societal causes, which could be like one of you mentioned before, that your mom is working at an elderly house or at a healthcare center or something like that, and you can maybe help her even to implement some of these exercises so people will actually know more what's going on in the field and things will be less top down and more bottom up. So think really out of the box, not only between the walls of IBIS, but also maybe in terms of, yeah, maybe your future dream job or whatever you would like to do, explore in that field. We even provided a session in the streets one day, or at the train station, even. So, sky is the limit. Well, the first exercise we did was actually the check-in. And the check-in is really important to when you have a group of strangers or people that do not really know each other so well, or even people that do know each other quite a bit, but still not super well, because when do you know a person well, right? That's the question. So a nice way how you can introduce one or the other is by thinking of an alliteration which starts with the first letter of your first name. Like I said, in my case, this was Jessica. And make it positive, right? Don't go into the negative or to the challenges you have or things like that. Try to explain, in my case, the Jazz, your chosen alliteration, in a way that suits you. Also, don't be too picky. Often the first thing that pops up in your mind, that's the best one. So don't worry about that. It's often the best name. Um, and then also make a movement so people can remember it. I was like spreading my hands as a Jessica. And because of, my dad is an improviser, he's an artist, he's a jazz musician. I'm an actor in theater and I have my own business, and those two combine pretty well. And now I want to, rule the world by letting people experience that improvisation is sometimes needed to be open for things, present, and to embrace the moment, and to also make your business successful and meet the right people. Well, not too much details about that. Then, as also the people, how do they feel in the here and now? So make them present, because if they're present, they're more open to connect. They're more open for the universal things because people share sentiments that are really basic. If somebody says at the moment I have a headache, people will feel more compassionate about this person rather than he or she would just, have a sad face, and other people might feel disturbed by it because, he doesn't look happy, and he should not be joining this session. He's irritating me. But once you know this person has a headache, you maybe even champion him or her joining the session rather go home. That's a good attitude too, just to maybe sometimes not always go with your little pains, but just, yeah, try to turn it around. Another thing you could ask is gratefulness. Can you mention one or two things you're really grateful for that happened today? So don't make it too big. And it can be my bed sleeps awesome, or I was really happy that there was a blue sky this morning, etc., etc. Could be anything. So this is the check-in. And then I would like to invite you to go to a more energetic exercise. And this is all in Dutch, so I will just, yeah, like the one we did with the colliding brains, right? This is this one, the 1, 2, 3 exercise with the wiggle. I will just turn off the volume here. If you go to the middle of this video, because this is all Dutch. So you go to the middle, so this is about 5:30. And then you see us doing this exercise. So you can see us standing in front of each other. I say 1, you say 2, you say 3. And then we repeat it in a circle, remember? Continuously. And when people are kind of going really slow, try to speed up the exercise, so people really do not hesitate too much, because this exercise is all about just jumping into it. And then you have the clap, right? And then you have the wiggle. You can all see it in this video. It might be Dutch, but you can just look at the gestures. It's pretty straightforward. If you would like to harvest it, you could do that, but I think for now maybe that's a little bit too much to ask of you, because it asks some more insights about this exercise, which is not easy just to explain now in 5 minutes. And you know, you have a lot of stuff to do, so use it as an energizer so people can wake up. It's nice though to ask after the exercise, so when 1, 2, 3, the wiggle, you finish, wrap up with that, you ask first, how did you experience it? So you ask this from an experiential level and not from an intellectual level. People say maybe nice, stupid, difficult, could be anything. It's all subjective, so don't push them in a corner to think like you, or you know, as facilitator you have to be as neutral as possible, especially as host transform practitioner. It's key for people to make and build their own learning curve, to dare to become and think more open and entrepreneurial. But this takes time, so don't push anything. And then after the experience, you could ask, okay, what can you do with this now? And people might say, yeah, maybe I could think less about what I do, or just do. Maybe I can be less judgmental about myself, etc., etc. Because this is also part of the deal, right? I will show you this poster next week. I'll just give you a little peek already. Here you see the model that people jump out of their comfort zone, and they move beyond the judgment, the skepticism, the fears. This is you. This is the host transformer practitioner. And because you can facilitate this process, people become, they do transform. They become more aware of themselves, of their limiting beliefs, of the things that they're really good at. And most of all, they become aware of the fact that they're not the only ones that think like that, right? So there's more people with those, maybe self-doubts or insecurities. Every person has them, from Richard Branson till the next person next to you, who maybe appears to be very strong, but this is also an outside. People have always their fearnesses and their little baggage from, you know, what makes them who they are. However, it becomes really difficult if it blocks them from moving forward and exploring what they can do even more beyond their own expectations, and to fulfill their, well, dreams, or to catch their dream career or dream business that they would love to build. Because if this happens to you, when you can really do what you love to do, it makes you a happier person, a better person, and it makes you an expert in what you do, because you love to do it and you cannot stop yourself. So you will do it anyway, and you become really good at it. I think for me, it's also training you guys. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm really near my purpose. My purpose is really to empower you guys to unlock your potential in order to empower your circle of influence again, which are these circles, so you can actually help other people and the greater cause, the greater good, as they say, and not so much, like starting a foundation or something. No, you can make a beautiful business out of things as long as you create value, as long as you help people. That's the essence. So you transform your world first, and then you can transform that one of others. And of course, this is kind of a synchronized process, right? It's not like you start with this, like we also discussed during the session. You start fulfilling yourself, and then there's suddenly one day you wake up, oh, I'm fulfilled, now I can help others. Of course, it's not such a it's not so black and white, but remember my story that I provided sessions forever in co-work spaces around the world, and after India I got so much fulfillment, and I helped a lot of people, and I got invited at universities to do the same kind of sessions with the students. However, when I came back, my bank account was empty because, yeah, my expenses in the Netherlands still continued, and the wages I earned in India, of course, are not the same. So for me, that was unfortunately, it was a hard way, but it was a good way to learn that, if you really want to grow your impact, money is part of that too. And it's stupid if people say it's not so. And I've worked for the Green Party, and as you might know, also at the United Nations. And by now I also realize if it's our big institutes that have to advocate or arrange, so to speak, peace, world peace, this is not going to happen because things are more flexible. They need a different approach than one institute that is organizing that, which is also super biased because of the veto countries, of course. Anyhow, before I start about talk about world politics, um, that was a little model. And of course, I want to talk about other stuff next week too, or this Friday actually. So I would like you to do that one, or this is also a nice one, high 10 duo club. It's even easier than the 1, 2, 3 wiggle. Go to the middle of this video. Well, let's say 5. 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And here you can see how I explain people to do an exercise that actually energizes you. And here I'm doing this with this lady. It's also about synchronicity. And when you're in sync, when you actually mirror one and the other without strategizing it, but merely make it happen um, spontaneously, you will get a really good flow and a really good sensation. So here's me explaining it. She asked, how does it work? You will see a lot of people ask that. How does it work and how's it this? But at a certain instance, you should just start, because you will figure out. It's also part of the whole issue that you learn by doing, right? How can you ever explain, for example, the whole wiggle thing? You should just start doing it. But I always do this experiment first, so with an assistant, so people feel comfortable enough to start doing it. So here I take her as an assistant, and we start doing it. Here you go. And when we're synchronized, yes, we clap in the middle. Here you go. So that's pretty straightforward, I guess. And then you invite everyone to do the same. And it's funny because people start to laugh. It's an energizer. It's also nice to get in sync. And some people like here, they have a really hard time, but they are going really well. Look. And I know they're colleagues, so maybe they already feel a little bit more comfortable with one and the other. Okay, another exercise you could do is openness to connect. So you open up people even more. The category crunch. This is one. It's about commonalities. You can ask people. We will do it next week, otherwise this is too much information for now. I don't want to make this video too long, otherwise you will not listen to it. So this is the how can I help you as a question, remember? So yeah, also really straightforward. It starts from what is it, 411. So how can I help you? You have to explain this really well because people get confused. So again, get an assistant. I got Annette, and I say, hey, I'm Jessica. I'm a trainer of leadership development, and I coach entrepreneurs, global entrepreneurs, often people that work throughout the world. Don't make it a speech or a pitch. And then I say, hey, how can I help you? And then it's up to Annette to respond. Before you start this exercise, you always ask people to think of something they might need. Because if you start straight away, people are kind of, what do I have to ask? So what helps is to also facilitate them a little bit in this, because often people cannot think of things. So help them a little bit. Make some examples like your website, or do you need someone that tests your product or service, or maybe you need someone that helps you with your mailing list, or you need someone with a typical skill. And also really important, I'm explaining this right now, it's not so much about Annette helping me, but maybe Annette has a huge network, and she has, because she works for Citizen Meet Utrecht. So I know she has a huge network. So if I have a question, she doesn't have to feel responsible helping me, but she can also ask, for example, or think about one of her colleagues or whoever. So, and then she connects them to me. And I always say, make yourself responsible for getting the email addresses of one and the other to really execute it, because it's really short, just 2 minutes per person. So don't get too much in detail with, I can help you, and what kind of WordPress do you have? No, make it really like, okay, I can help you. Let's talk during lunch, make a meeting, etc. Because if you do it like that, then you can switch partners even, and you can do it multiple times. I think here I swapped like maybe twice. I told them it was a 20-minute session, so I couldn't swap more. But yeah, make it. I think people love this exercise, so it's also funny because often people feel like, disappointed when they cannot continue their their interaction because you interrupt them to switch partners, but then they have a new connection again and again, and it's all because of those exercises before, right? You had this energizer, this openness exercise, the check-in, so people feel really comfortable with one and the other, and they get more in sync with one and the other. So even though you cannot help, a person cannot help you, but you can help that person, the other, then you also feel really grateful. So that's pretty cool. So I hope this was enough information. I really would love to hear stories on Friday. So don't forget, just do it, And if you have any questions, do email me. I will help you. I'll send you a private video. I don't care. It's my mistake that those videos are not up yet. So I'm really sorry. But soon they will be there. Um, and also very important, what are things that you would like to do next or this Friday during the session? We have 4 hours, and I was thinking, first of all, give you some feedback on your own experience, because you will host sessions now, or some exercises, or whatever is possible for you. And secondly, I would like to give you some more framework, but host transform, that's fine. And thirdly, I was thinking about helping you unlock your potential, because these exercises is all about, more or less, about how can you facilitate sessions and empower others, like my slogan, right? Change your world and that of others. But is your world already transformed? Do you really know what you're super good at and you wanna explore and enhance and just do forever? So even though you might make some mistakes, or there's some tiny things in the process that's not really for you, you will find a way. You will either outsource it, or just train until you become an expert in that field. Like I was providing sessions for 2 years for free. Not always. I had some gigs, so to speak, in organizations, but I didn't like it because organizations often give those trainings that are kind of compulsory and you do not get the people in the sessions you want to work with. Like you guys, I hope you chose the host NLU because you really love to know more about it. Maybe not because it was not really clear what it's about. However, I will provide more NLU, so I hope soon it becomes more clear for you guys. Okay, long story short, go and do the exercises. Please host and transform your world and that of others. Second of all, let me know what you would like to learn. Create your own learn path, your own learn curve by telling me how I can help you. Otherwise, I might just improvise and talk about stuff that you might not find really interesting. So, do you indeed like to unlock your own potential, or do you want to only get more skills and exercises how you can unlock the potential of others? Interesting question, no? So let me know. Very curious. Okay, have a great weekend. Bye bye.